everyone, today we are discussing the cholinergic drugs. So, cholinergic drugs are also known as parasympathomimetic drugs and cholinomimetic drugs because they show similar action as that of acetylcholine. That is why they are known as parasympathomimetic and cholinomimetic drugs. The cholinergic agonists are of two types. The first is cholinester and second is alkaloid. So in case of cholinesters, we have acetylcholine, methacholine, carbachol or bethanychol. And in case of alkaloids, we have muscarine, pilocarpine and ergoline. So these drugs may show similar action as that of acetylcholine inside the body. Now, we already discussed that there are the two types of the receptors. The first is muscarinic receptor and the second one is nicotinic receptors. And in these receptors, muscarinic and nicotinic receptor, acetylcholine combine and produce its effect. So, muscarinic action. So, we know that these receptors are present in a different parts of a body like heart, blood vessels, smooth muscles, glands, and etc. So, starting with the first, in case of a heart, the acetylcholine decrease the rate of diastolic depolarization. So, as a result, there is a decrease in impulse generation and bradycardia occur. Next, in the case of blood vessels, we know that if the blood vessels are dilated, then ultimately there is a fall in a blood pressure. So, this is observed in the case of muscarinic action. Next, we have a smooth muscles. In case of smooth muscle, there is a contraction. And in case of a glands, there is an increase in the secretion by M2 and M3 receptors. For example, we have exocrine gland, which secrete the hormone, which secrete the substance outside the body. For example, we have excess salivation, we have excess sweating, and excess lacrimation. Next, in the case of eyes, there is a meiosis occur. The pupil of the eye is going to be constricted and there is a contraction of the ciliary muscles of the iris. So these are the effect of acetylcholine or these drugs on the muscarinic receptors. And on the other hand, we can see the effect of the acetylcholine is also on the nicotinic receptors. So, in case of nicotinic receptors, if the high dose of acetylcholine is given after atropine, then it may cause a tachycardia. We have ionophoretic application of acetylcholine to muscle and plate, and it may cause contraction of the fiber. The important thing which we have to remember regarding acetylcholine is that the acetylcholine does not able to penetrate inside the blood brain barrier and it has no central effect, but although if it is directly injected into the brain, it will produce effect and which is error user response. So now we are discussing the cholinomimetic alkaloids. The most commonly used cholinomimetic alkaloid is pilocarpine. Pilocarpine is obtained from a plant source and it may produce similar action as that of acetylcholine. It causes sweating, salivation, and increase in other body secretion. So if we can take the pilocarpine in small doses, it may cause fall in blood pressure, but if we can take this pilocarpine in a higher doses, that it may increase the blood pressure. Pilocarpine is most commonly used for eye preparation and in concentration of 0.5 to 4%. It is easily penetrate through the cornea and cause meiosis. The, the contraction of a ciliary muscles and it may cause decrease in intraocular pressure and produce its effect in concentration 0.5 to 4% for around 8 hours. So it is a third line drug in open angle glaucoma. It works by decreasing the intraocular pressure in the eyes. So this is all regarding the cholinergic drugs. Now, in previous video we already discussed that the cholinesterase is basically enzyme which cause breakdown of acetylcholine into choline and acetyl coenzyme A. In order to inhibit that enzyme, we use the drugs which are anticholinesterase inhibitors because we want that the concentration of acetylcholine is increased. So we use these drugs to prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine. There are two types, reversible and irreversible. In case of reversible, we have carbamate. We have carbamates such as physiostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, rivastigmine. And non-carbamate, we have androphonium, tacrine, doneprazil, and galantamine. In case of irreversible, we have carbamates, which are carboryl, propoxur, or in case of organophosphates, we have diflose, ecothiopate, malathion, and diazinon. So these are anticholinesterase drugs. Now, the product, the acetylcholine from hydrolysis and produce the cholinergic effects. So now we're discussing the uses of the cholinergic drugs. Although they produce a contraction inside the body, so they have better effect by increasing the tone of the muscles. We know that the neostigmine, which is a anticholinesterase enzyme, which is mainly reversible in nature, is used as a first line drug to restore the muscle strength, and neostigmine is preferred in the dose of around 50 mg. They work and they allow the acetylcholine release from the prejunctional ending to accumulate and act as a receptor over in the large areas. Basically, they act by inhibiting the cholinesterase enzyme. Immunosuppressant example azathioprine and cyclosporins are also used for its beneficial effect. Sometime in case of organ transplant, we need immunosuppressant drugs so that the body able to accept the another body organ. So we use this immunosuppressant substance like azathioprine, cyclosporin. It may act both, they inhibit the non-adrenaline antibody synthesis by affecting the T cells. So it is also used in case of Alzheimer disease. It's a type of mental disease in which involve the loss of the memory. So these drugs are also preferred in the case of Alzheimer disease, and the most commonly drug which is used in this case is rivastigmine. So this is all regarding the cholinergic drugs, and in next video we are going to discuss about the anticholinesterase poisoning.